back on the road. I'm gonna be honest, man, I miss the road. But felt good to walk out of the house this morning with bags packed and a destination I like. I know it's loud out here. I'm gonna finish getting fuel here, get in the truck, and we're headed to Florida. Alright, so it's now 5:55 a.m. A customer just called me. So we're getting an early start today. I'll show you what we're hauling. I told him between 6 and 6:30 we'd be there to pick up. Obviously, we got the single car enclosed behind us. And this is, shout out to my boy Hotshot New England, because this is probably the 4th or 5th load that I've kind of done for him in a realm of helping somebody he knows, a customer out, and pretty much the go-to guy for this. So shout out to him for, everybody's been kind of flexible with my schedule, and then being sick for that week, everybody's kind of been flexible. So feeling good. Update on that of being sick. I feel a lot better. My energy's back. I'm still congested, but I think most of that's allergies. They're cutting hay at the house and things like that, so it's just, you can't really get away from any of the pollen or ragweed allergies, any of that. So got about 15 miles to this guy's property. Get this loaded up. Should take about a half hour to load, and then we're headed to Florida. Alright, now this is the nice part about this. Back right up to the greenhouse. Alright. I don't know if, yep, you can see a guy back there. They're getting the plants out of the greenhouse. They load. I sit in the truck. So they ship different varieties, and they kind of like load everything themselves, and like, so the customer knows this section's this section's this, how many of each, so they don't get mixed up. So they do it all themselves, so we just sit here and wait, which is kind of nice. He said give him about a half hour, 45 minutes, he should be done, and we'll be on the road. Well, while we get loaded here, let me tell you about this truck buying experience. So, first truck I went to look at was I want to say it was a 2000 as well. Crew cab, dually long bed, 7.3. Was I don't think it was a Lariat, but anyways, it doesn't matter. Had 167,000 miles. It's like, okay, that's not bad. You know, it was white. I like white vehicles, but, you know, when buying used vehicles, sometimes you gotta take what you can get. So there's a little bit of a language barrier. They were Mexican, or they were speaking Spanish, and it was real broken English in the messages, and then on the phone it was like pretty non-existent conversation. So, like, every third word would be English, which I was like, okay, just message me, whatever. So, it had, well, let me think about this. I've looked at so many. It was real clean. It was rust-free. It was from Florida. This is one from Florida. 167,000 miles on it. And they were asking $13,500. So I kept asking some questions about it, like I wanted to know if it had a gooseneck hitcher in it or a fifth wheel. I wanted to know a couple other things, if they had any history on the vehicle. So they got back. They didn't really have any history on it because she was selling it for her cousin, which brought it up here from Florida, and they were in Maryland. So I'm like, okay, well, would you mind sending me the VIN? I was just a little skeptical, like, coming out of Florida. I just wanted to cover my bases of, like, make sure this thing had a clean title, make sure this thing had a title, you know? I didn't want to get stuck buying this thing and then not being able to register it. So I was like, all right. So she got back to me a couple hours later. She sent me the VIN, ran the VIN, and I'm like, that's weird. In 2018, the truck had 400,000 miles on it when it was registered in Florida. So someone changed the odometer in it. So I told her, I was like, I told him, I was like, hey, this truck, 4 years ago had 400,000 miles on it. There's no way I could pay you $13,500 for this. I said, but it probably has at least 500,000 miles on it, maybe 600,000. And I wasn't gonna buy it, but I was like, I'll give you 5,000 for it, just to like kind of put it in perspective what they actually had on their hands. She never got back to me. The second one I tried to buy was really close to me. It was only like 30 minutes up the road, which is like 30 minutes up the road back road. So it's like only like 17 or 18 miles away. Same thing, white crew cab dually, 7.3, but it was 4-wheel drive and it was a ZF6, so it was a manual transmission. The only reason I was interested in this is because a guy told me that it had a new engine and new transmission within the last 10,000 miles. It was like, for the price he was asking, I think he was asking $16,000 for it. I was like, you kind of probably put, at least $8,000 to $10,000 in it when you did all that work. Might be worth it. If the body's good, it might be worth it. And being close, I knew, like, if I spent a little more money, I wouldn't have to travel, take the time off, lose out on income, spend the fuel, So I was like, whatever, let's see what we can get. And I asked the guy, I was like, hey, can I see the paperwork? Because he said he had paperwork. I said, do you have paperwork on the engine and the transmission, the shop that did whatever? I just wanted to take a look at it. He was like, yeah, I got paperwork on it. I was like, well, can you just send me a picture of it? He absolutely went ballistic. Like, if you're really interested in this thing, you drive up here. I'm getting sick and tired of answering people's questions. I was like, well, isn't that what you do when you sell something? All I wanted to see was if it was actually new parts. Like, some people will say new motor and trans, or replaced motor and transmission, but they're using used parts, or maybe they put a Jasper engine in. I don't know. But I just wanted to see how much money he spent on it to gauge if the truck was worth that. He went absolutely ballistic on me in messages. And all I sent was a thumbs up emoji back. And then I drove by and looked at it, and it was pretty beat up. So, to be expected. I think he said the body had like 400,000 on it. But done rambling. They should be about done loading me. Is this what it feels like to run a drive-in? I mean, I'm sure it takes quite a while to get loaded and unloaded, but I can feel the truck rocking back and forth as they're going in and out of the trailer. Well, he should be out of here in 15 minutes. So we stop at Love's. The worst Love's in the country. Now, I may be wrong, but every time I come to this one, this is the Love's in Skipper, Virginia. It's like exit 4 or something. So it's like right before you get into North Carolina. So I'm like, well, I'll check. I said, I gotta pee, I'll check to see where I can get the cheapest fuel. So I pull in here because it was like $5.65 with my TSD card. Crosted Pilot was $5.99. So I was like, oh, cool, I'll just top off there. Like, I had like a half a tank. I'll top off, use the restroom, and keep moving. We got to the pump, and I pull behind this guy. He's parked at the pump. I see him get out of the truck, and I'm like, okay, whatever. The guy beside him pulls up. I get out, see a sign that says no WEX cards, which is what a TSD card is. It's like, okay. Does that mean no WEX cards at the pump? So I walk inside. I'm like standing there at the counter, which you all know how a Love's counter is. There's usually somebody screaming at you. Not here. Nobody. Stood there, nobody. So I was like, you know what, forget it. Walk out, try to swipe my WEX card, doesn't work. So I scanned my RTS card, which didn't give me that much of a discount. So, Meanwhile, the guy that was parked, he gets out, and I'm like, are you just parking at the pump? He goes, no key, no key. And I'm like, okay, whatever, not my responsibility. When I went in to use the restroom after I pulled forward, disgusting. I didn't even want to pee in. I'd rather pee outside. Well, I'd rather pee outside 99% of the time, but I'd rather pee in the middle of a parking lot with everybody watching me than step foot in that nasty ass bathroom. But we are scrubbed up on hand sanitizer and we're ready to hit the road, I guess. Well, we're done for the night. One good thing about driving a pickup sometimes is finding parking. Especially with having just the enclosed trailer behind us. Just backed into this spot up in there's nothing left in the back parking lot. I tried. I went in and got a shower ticket. So I used all my points, and having a baby tank in this truck has really been screwing me on showers. So we're just waiting for a shower and park here out of the way. Got us backed all the way up against the curb. I could back up on the curb if I wanted to, but should be out of the way enough.